All right, squad, let's start digging into your 3 invariable running elements, starting with your runner's pose. To get into your runner's pose, let's first get into an athletic stance. Feet about shoulder width apart, soft knees, chest up, shoulders are backing down, and I'll pull my arms at the side. I'm gonna shift my body weight forward just a little bit so I perceive more of my body weight in the balls of my feet versus my heels. And from this position, I'm ready to make moves. I'm athletic, and I'm ready to get some work done. To get into the pose position from here, we'll shift the body weight to one side and pull your heel up directly under your hip. So again, we're in our athletic or springiness position, and I'll pull my foot directly up under my hip so it's nice and tight. I should be able to tap my knee with my ankle. This is your runner's pose. From this position, all I have to do is release tension from my foot, and I'm ready to roll. That means that I am showing the intent to move forward, the intent to fall, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But again, feet about shoulder width apart, good posture, soft bend in the knees. I'm gonna bring that foot up under my hip, and this is my runner's pose. Every single runner, just like the other 2 invariable elements, will hit that pose position every single stride. The longer it takes for you to get from your initial contact of landing to that pose position, the more you're slowing yourself down by overstriding, and also the more you're inviting potential injury because you're overstriding. If I were to land way out here on my heel, it takes this much time to get to my pose position. So that heel strike, I have to roll all the way through, wait till my center of mass catches up with my body or catches up with my landing, and then I can get to that pose position. If I do a forefoot strike, or I'm sorry, a midfoot strike, so rather than landing out here on my heel, I bring my foot back just a little bit, so I'm landing flat on my foot. You get the pose a little bit quicker, but still, you have to wait too long before your general center of mass finally catches up with that support foot. Now, if I pull my foot back even further, so it's pretty much under my body, and I'm landing on my forefoot, boom, you get into your pose position so fast, and that's the goal, squad. How quickly can we get from pose on one side to pose on the other side? Some common deviations you'll see from pose are the high knee. So rather than having my foot directly up under my hip and only having as much hip flexion or bend in the hip as necessary, people will purposefully bring their thigh up super high. From this position, I want to go backwards. The more I bring my knee up, the more I want to go backwards. And in running, we want to go forward, correct? Then also, I feel tons of extra work through my quads, through my hip flexors, as I'm trying to lift my gigantic thigh. So that's a pose deviation. Another pose deviation is the butt kick. So again, rather than having my foot directly up under my hip, it'll be behind me. So if I reach back a little bit, I'm wanting to bend forward at the waist, so that's taken away from good posture. And also there's tons of tension all through my hamstring here, which is where a lot of hamstring injuries can come from if you're pulling too far behind. So again, we want to be straight up under the hip. So not back here, feeling tons of tension. Even as you bring that foot back up under your hip, you'll feel all that tension in your hamstring kind of dissipate. So pose deviation 1, that high knee setting me backwards, overworking my hip flexors. Pose deviation 2, the butt kick, bending me forward and putting tons of extra work on the hamstring. And then you've got your good, nice, compact pose position. And that's your goal, squad.